I politely asked my neighbor to keep her aggressive dog leashed. A week later, I found my cat Lifeless on my porch. She stood across the street, smiling. Predators always win. I reported her, but with no proof, nothing was done. That night, I heard growling beneath my window. When I looked out, I saw. I've lived in Rocklin, California since 2011. After my divorce, I needed a quiet place. I bought this little 2-bedroom home on a calm street. Mostly older folks, some young families, everyone kept to themselves. For over a decade, it was peaceful. That peace shattered 6 months ago when a woman named Reese moved in. She bought the old Parker place 3 houses down. Right away, I knew something was off. She was sharp. Not friendly. Didn't wave. Didn't talk. She walked around like the street belonged to her. And then there was her dog. A big, black Doberman named Brute. I've seen big dogs. I've had dogs. Brute was something else. He didn't bark. He stalked. He moved slow, like he was always hunting. Every time he saw me, he growled. Not loud, just low and deep, like a warning. First time I saw him off leash, I froze. He walked right across my front yard like he owned it. Reese didn't call him back. She didn't even look concerned. Just stood there, arms folded, sunglasses on, like it was all beneath her. I tried to be polite. I really did. One afternoon, I was out front with Jasper. My cat. He was on a harness and leash. Some people think that's weird, but Jasper loved our little walks. He was calm, gentle, never caused trouble. I'd had him since he was a kitten. He was the only thing that got me through the darkest parts of my life. We were near the bushes when Brute charged from across the street. No leash. No command. Just fast and silent. Jasper panicked, tried to climb my leg. I grabbed him and backed up fast. My heart was pounding. Brute stopped a foot away, teeth bared, growling. Reese walked up like nothing happened. No apology. No reaction. I said, "Could you please leash your dog?" He scared my cat. She didn't blink. He's trained. He doesn't bite unless he feels threatened. He ran at us. He was curious. I took a breath. Look, I'm not trying to fight. I'm just asking you to leash him. He could hurt someone. That's when she smiled. Cold. Slow. I'll never forget what she said. Predators don't follow rules. They lead. That's when I knew this woman wasn't normal. I reported it to animal control. They came by, but all they did was issue a verbal warning. Nothing written. Nothing real. I asked if I could press charges if something happened. They told me to get video. Without proof, it's your word against hers. A week later, I found Jasper dead on my front porch. I can't describe what that moment felt like. I opened the front door to check the mail and saw him lying there. Still. Torn up. Bloody. His little harness shredded. There were bite marks on his neck and back. I fell to my knees screaming. I remember shaking as I picked him up, begging him to move, to wake up. But he was cold. He was already gone. Across the street, Reese stood there. She had Brute beside her, calm like nothing happened. And then she said it? Loud and clear. Predators always win. I snapped. I called the police. Called animal control. I showed them Jasper's body. I cried. I begged them to take it seriously. They said it could have been a coyote. That we lived near a wooded area. That unless I saw Brute kill Jasper or had it on video, there was nothing they could do. I couldn't even get them to take a formal statement. That night, I sat on my couch, staring at Jasper's empty bed. I held his collar in my hand. My house was silent. Cold. Like something had been ripped out of it. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. Then, around 3 a.m., I heard something. A low growl. Right outside my window. I got up, heart racing, and pulled the curtain back. Brute was standing on my lawn again, staring right at my house. Behind him, under the street lamp, was Reese. Arms crossed. Smiling. That was it. That was the moment I stopped being scared. If the law wouldn't help me, I was going to handle it myself. I wasn't going to attack her or hurt the dog. I wanted to destroy her, legally, completely. I wanted to make her pay so slowly, so deeply, that she'd wish she'd never moved here. I started planning. Step 1, surveillance. I bought a full camera system, motion detection, night vision, cloud storage. I installed cameras all around my house. Front, back, side yard, driveway. Every angle covered. Step 2, collect evidence. Every time Brute entered my yard, I recorded it. Every time he growled. Every time she let him walk unleashed, I took a picture. I timestamped everything. I started a log. Date, time, location, what happened. Step 3, talk to neighbors. Turns out, I wasn't the only one. An older couple down the street said Brute had chased their grandson on his bike. Another neighbor's dog had to get stitches after a fight with Brute. Reese told them it was their fault for walking too close. But no one reported her. They didn't want trouble. I got them to write statements. Anonymous, if needed. I filed another report with all of it, photos, videos, statements. This time, they had to respond. She got hit with a civil citation. Had to appear in court. She showed up like it was a joke. Leather boots, tight outfit, sunglasses indoors. She tried to smile at me when she walked in. But I didn't blink. I showed the judge everything. I told the whole story. Jasper's death. The threats. The video footage. The neighbor statements. She said nothing. Her lawyer tried to say the videos proved nothing. But the judge wasn't buying it. She was ordered to leash Brute at all times. She was fined. The judge said if Brute was caught off leash again, he'd be taken away. She was furious. But not for long. Less than 4 weeks later, Brute was in my yard again. It was a Saturday morning. I was in the kitchen making coffee when I heard the motion alert chime from my front camera. I walked over to the monitor, and there he was, Brute, right in the middle of my lawn. No leash. I paused the footage. Zoomed in. There, in the corner of the frame, I saw Reese. Standing just past the sidewalk, holding nothing. No leash in her hand. No attempt to stop him. Just standing there, like she was daring me to react. I printed the screenshot and saved the video clip to a USB. I called animal control again, but this time, I also contacted the court clerk. I reminded them of the judge's order. Sent them the footage directly. Copied everything to my lawyer, who I'd hired right after the last hearing. 2 days later, I got a call back. An officer had gone to her home. Brute was gone. Seized. They took him. You'd think that would be the end. That maybe she'd stop. But no, Reese changed tactics. The dog wasn't the weapon anymore. She was. It started with the phone calls. Every night around 2 a.m., my landline would ring once. Just once. Never enough to trace. But it was always the same time. Then I found my mailbox open one morning. Nothing stolen, but the door was cracked like someone had just gone through it. I called the post office. They said unless mail was missing, it wasn't a crime. Then came the trash. She dumped raw chicken parts in my front yard one night. I caught it on camera. Sent it to the police. They told me I needed proof that she put them there, couldn't tell from the angle. She was smart enough to stay out of frame. But the final straw was when I got home from work and found a dead squirrel nailed to my back fence. I didn't even scream. I just stood there, staring at it. My hands were shaking. She wanted me to break. She wanted me to retaliate. But I wasn't going to give her that. Instead, I went deeper. I started digging into her background. Public records, court filings, old addresses. I found out she'd lived in 3 different towns in the last 5 years. In every one, there were complaints, noise violations, fights with neighbors. One incident with a woman who claimed her dog bit her kid, case dismissed due to lack of evidence. Same pattern. Same chaos. I printed it all out. Built a file 2 inches thick. And I waited. Because I knew she'd slip. She always did. It happened 1 week later. I was walking to my car early in the morning when I saw her standing near my trash bins. She didn't see me at first. I stopped. Watched. She pulled something from her coat, looked like a raw steak, and shoved it into my bin. Then she looked around and slipped back across the street. I checked my outdoor camera. This time, the angle caught her clearly. Face. Hands. Time-stamped. I called the cops and pressed full charges for harassment, trespassing, and intimidation. When the officers showed up at her door, she didn't look smug anymore. But that wasn't the twist. The twist came 2 days later when I got a message from a woman in Elk Grove. She said her friend had lived next to Reese 3 years ago. Sent me a long email. Said her friend had to move because Reese poisoned her dog. The vet couldn't prove it. But the timeline, the threats. It all matched. Then she dropped the bomb. Reese used to go by a different name. Reese wasn't her real name. I pulled her property records. The house was listed under Rebecca Cross. I cross-checked it with the public court system. She had a sealed juvenile record. But in 2002, she was named in a civil case involving the death of a neighbor's dog. She was 17. I couldn't access the full record, but I'd seen enough. This wasn't about Brute. This woman had been doing this for years. This was who she was. And now, she'd done it in the wrong town. To the wrong person. Next part coming next, after I found out her real name, Rebecca Cross, it all started to make more sense. This wasn't a random mean neighbor. This was someone who had a pattern. A history. She didn't just love control, she lived off the fear she caused. I kept digging. Her last home was in Placerville. I tracked down a neighbor listed on the same block, just took a few hours on social media and local listings. Her name was May Tran. I sent her a message and didn't expect a reply. But she called me the next day. She was quiet at first. Told me she didn't want to get involved, but when I explained what Rebecca, had been doing to me, she broke down. Her dog killed my beagle, she said. She left it in my yard. Just like that. Then said it must have been a wild animal. Same story. I had no proof. I asked her if she ever went to the police. I tried, she said. But it wasn't just the dog. I started getting followed. She'd drive behind me at night. Park across the street, and just sit in her car. I had 2 kids, I couldn't risk it. We moved. I thanked her, and after we hung up, I realized something. Everywhere this woman went, someone left. She cleared her neighbors out like a plague. But now she didn't just have a victim, she had someone building a case. I forwarded everything May gave me to my lawyer. We added it to the harassment case. The judge granted me a protective order. She wasn't allowed within 100 feet of my property. For a few days it worked. She stopped staring from across the street. No more strange noises at night. No trash. No animals. It was quiet. Too quiet. Then one night around 1 a.m., I heard a loud crack out back. I jumped out of bed and ran to the rear window. The motion light was on. One of my garden chairs had been thrown against the fence. Nobody in sight. I checked the footage. You know what I saw? Someone wearing a black hoodie and gloves cutting the power line to my backyard camera. They knew where it was. They knew how to stay out of view. But they made a mistake. They didn't know about the side camera. It caught the edge of her SUV parked 2 houses down. Same dent on the bumper. Same missing front plate. She didn't just break the restraining order, she did it on camera. I sent it to my lawyer. Police finally picked her up the next morning. She was charged with criminal trespassing, vandalism, and violating the protective order. But that's when she really showed her true self. She made bail within hours. That same night, someone knocked on my door around midnight. I didn't answer. I watched through the peephole, no one there. But when I opened the door in the morning, there was a box on my porch. Inside, raw meat and Jasper's old collar. His real collar. The one that disappeared the day he died. I nearly dropped it. I stood there frozen, my heart racing. Hands shaking. She had kept it. This whole time. That was her message. Even locked up, even restrained, she thought she still had power over me. But she didn't know I had one more plan. Because I'd been holding something back. The kid down the block, the one who Brute chased on a bike months ago. His dad worked for the city. Code enforcement. He told me something interesting a while back, something I didn't think much about until now. Reese's house? She'd made renovations without a permit. Extended the back patio. Changed part of the garage into a studio. All illegal. I made one phone call. Within a week, the city issued a citation. They began the inspection process. Found violations. Fined her. Started a process that would take months, but could lead to property seizure if she didn't fix it. Then I got a message from another neighbor, a guy who lived one street over. His wife's chihuahua had vanished 3 months ago. No signs. Nothing. Until he saw my post in a local forum and sent me a picture. Brute was in it, taken weeks ago, dragging that same dog's collar in his mouth. Another report. Another complaint. More pressure. Bit by bit, the pieces were coming together. Reese was cracking. She stopped hiding it. Started screaming at me from across the street when she thought no one was looking. Started knocking over my trash bins. Her arrest records piled up. Her court dates stacked. She was losing control. But I wasn't finished yet. Because I knew something she didn't. She wasn't just going to lose her dog. She wasn't just going to lose her house. She was going to lose everything. Everything came to a head 1 month later. Reese, Rebecca, was now spiraling. She had 2 court cases pending, her house was under city review, and she had fines stacking up. She stopped pretending to be calm. Every day, I'd hear her yelling at contractors on her porch or cussing at neighbors under her breath. She knew her time was running out. But even then, I didn't expect what happened next. It was a Thursday morning when I got the knock. Not from her. It was animal control. 2 officers. One of them looked tired. The other one, a younger woman, had something under her arm. A file. "We need to talk," she said. She showed me a report. Apparently, Reese had filed a complaint against me. Said I poisoned Brute. That I had something to do with his seizure. That I was a cat killer and a stalker. I was stunned. I thought this had all gone as far as it could, but she had just tried to flip the script. I handed them everything. All my logs, all my photos, videos, court records, protective orders. Even the flash drive I hadn't shown anyone yet, it had a voice recording of her yelling. Predators always win. The day I found Jasper dead. The younger officer listened to the recording twice. Her face turned red. "Jesus," she muttered. "She's nuts." They left. I don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes, but 3 days later, I found out Brute had been put down. He had tested positive for rabies, old infection undetected. Which meant that dog had been unsafe for a long time, and Reese knew it. That's when the dominoes really fell. A week later, code enforcement rolled up to her house in full force. They brought trucks, a structural inspector, and a legal notice taped to her door, condemned pending full investigation. Turns out she'd not only done unpermitted construction, she rerouted gas lines illegally. One small leak was found near the back patio. It could have killed her. Or a neighbor. City gave her 30 days to vacate or face criminal negligence charges. I thought that was the end. But she wasn't done. 2 days before she was forced to leave, I woke up to the smell of smoke. Ran outside, my trash bin was on fire. My camera caught her clearly. Middle of the night. Hoodie up. Lighter in hand. Walking back across the street like it was nothing. That was the final nail. Fire department came fast, thank God. My house didn't catch. But the footage? It was enough for an arrest warrant. She didn't resist this time. They dragged her out screaming. Every neighbor stood outside and watched. She yelled my name. Cursed me out. Said I destroyed her life. I didn't respond. I didn't move. She was charged with arson, attempted property damage, multiple violations of the protective order, and animal cruelty from the Jasper case, which had been reopened now that everything was out in the open. But there was still one piece left. The house. She couldn't pay the fines. She had no one willing to help her. I found out she'd defaulted on her mortgage. The bank was getting ready to foreclose. That's when I made my move. I bought the house. Not through her. Through the bank, at auction. Cheap. No one wanted it. Too much bad blood. I didn't do it to live there. I did it because she couldn't stand losing control. And now, her worst enemy owned her home. I didn't even fix it up. I had it torn down. Empty lot now. A garden's going in. Neighbors helped me plant it. We're going to plant roses where her porch used to be. The same kind Jasper used to sniff every morning. As for me, I'm not the same person anymore. For a while, I felt like I lost myself in this. I became obsessed. Angry. I didn't trust anyone. I jumped at every sound. I let it eat at me. I didn't sleep for months. I missed Jasper every single day. But when I stood on that empty dirt lot, with sunlight hitting my face, I felt peace for the first time in a year. Not because I won. Because she finally lost everything. She used fear to control people. But in the end, she was just a coward hiding behind a leash, a smile, and a vicious dog. She thought predators always win. But she forgot one thing. Predators don't last forever. Especially not in the daylight. And now? Now she rots in jail. And I walk my new cat, named Chance, every morning, just like I used to. Same path. Same peace. Only now, no one growls at us. No one ever will again.